So I was in the market for some more rainbow cichlids that I really wanted, and eventually I found them in a store. However, the prognosis wasn't good. They were sad and lifeless. They had stringy white poop and sunken bellies. They had grazes and marks all over them, and it was a pretty sad case. I'm not showing the worst of the clips that I gathered because it wasn't nice to look at. So I had two choices: walk away and leave them, or try to do something with these fish. And I decided, if anybody could, I've probably got a decent chance of turning life around for these wee fellas. When they were moving about, there was a fair amount of flashing going on, so right away I'm thinking they've got more than one issue, and it's going to take more than one remedy to resolve them. Fortunately, I have a spare tank, so I was able to set up a quarantine cum hospital tank for them, and I had a few tools in my cabinet as well. I wouldn't necessarily recommend everyone pick up fish like this and put them in their main or their only tank, because there's a chance of the illnesses spreading to other fish they may have. But like I say, I was able to set up another aquarium to deal with it. I kept it pretty simple, just a bare bottom tank with a couple of Java ferns attached to wood, a heater, a cycled filter, and a few catappa leaves for their natural healing properties. Next, I reached for the care package that eSHa had sent me a while back, because I knew there was stuff in there that were going to be able to help me. Spoiler, help me it did. But I'll show you what happened here, right? First, I reached for that eSHa NDX, which had been so good at dealing with a previous problem I had with I'm going to call them Cama badworms. You can see what it does against parasitic nematodes roundworms. So that's where I started, and well, I'm not going to go too in depth about this. I've got another video that I already made, and I'll link that at the end and in the description. But basically, it works against flatworms and nematodes. And then I've also got this eSHa gdex, which, if I've got faith in the NDX, I think the gdex is going to be fine too. This works against skin flukes, remember? Gill flukes, remember the flashing folks? And tapeworm. So I figure between the two of them, well, this should be the answer that I need. I believed. So they make it pretty easy for you. The instruction leaflet that you get inside the box gives directions that are easy to fathom. Even a novice fish keeper can figure it out. And the bottle that the medication comes in has the dropper attached. So, pretty straightforward, hey? And it's painless from there. Just grab a container with some tank water in it and add the required dose. What I did was add it to the tank, left it for 24 hours, and then did daily water changes. That was part of the benefit of having a glass bottom. It was easy to remove any debris or waste that was sitting down there. Basically, I was trying to keep the environment as clean as possible for them, and it was easy for me to gauge how much medication I'd removed and how much to add on subsequent days. So, I did a week's worth at the NDX, gave them a couple of days break, and then started on the gdex. I could tell things were going well after the NDX. The fish looked happier. They were more active, they were eating readily, and some of their colouring and markings were starting to return. Another good indication was that the fines were looking better. They looked healthier and formed, if you understand what I mean by that, and there was no longer any white stringy appearance to them. As I said, the footage that I'm showing you is way on in the recovery process. The beginning was ever so sad, and it was hard for me to look at, so I didn't want to share it. However, you can see this, their bellies are growing back. They are filling out now, which is ever so good to see. I did fear that we weren't going to get to this stage, but with the help of this medication, we've done it, haven't we? We've achieved it. Throughout this whole process, I was feeding twice daily. In the morning, they were getting grindle worms. And in the evening, for these particular fish, I was feeding Origin Aquatic Nutrition Supreme Soft Pellet. I was either, if it was my day off, doing a partial change after the grindle worms and another after the evening feed, or doing a 20% 20% water change after their evening meal. Like I said, after the NDX, couple of days break, course of the gdex, and then I still kept these fish in the tank, in the quarantine tank for another 2 weeks after that, just to observe them, just to make sure we'd eradicate any parasites or illnesses they may have. But then, when I was confident, I added them into the dual Rio, the big tank, which is going to be their forever home. And as you can see, they are doing fantastic now. That's one of the adults there. That's what they're going to grow to be one day, but they're already well on their way. So what am I saying here? Am I saying this eSHa product is the miracle cure for all ills? No, I'm not. No. But if you've got a good idea what's wrong with your fish and you want something reliable to remedy that, I think eSHa NDX, eSHa gdex is a safe bet. Certainly done these fish a solid. Certainly did what I wanted it to do. I feel like these guys are going to have a happy and longer life now, and that is what we set out to achieve. Other medications are available, but here in the UK we don't have access to some of the chemicals and the medications that are available in other parts of the world. So for here, I would certainly say, if you've got something that looks like sunken bellies, if you think you've got parasites or internal parasites, if you think that you might be able to resolve it with this medication, I would say give it a try, because it's worked for me. It's worked for these fish. I thank you, eSHa, for sending it out to me and giving me the opportunity to try it, because for me and for these fish, it's been a right good result.